If you hear a voice within you say, "You cannot paint," then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. Vincent van Gogh. Do you constantly ask yourself questions such as, "Am I doing this right? Who am I kidding? I'm not an artist." Or, "Who am I to be making time for art when working on a new piece?" Have you ever felt inadequate, like you don't belong someplace, like an art class, an art event, an art supply store, etc., or among a group of other artists, even though you're deeply passionate about being there and you share so many common interests with those around you? Ever struggled with feeling like a fraud or like someone's going to pop up from out of nowhere and tell you you're doing it all wrong, even though you've been working hard at improving artistically for a while? If you responded yes to any or all of these, chances are you've struggled or are struggling with good old imposter syndrome. And you're not alone. Imposter syndrome hits so many artists and creatives of all kinds. Pretty much most people who are doing anything big or uncommon. Just in case you've never heard of imposter syndrome before, Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines it as a false and sometimes crippling belief that one's successes are the product of luck or fraud rather than skill. A pervasive feeling of self-doubt, insecurity, or fraudulence, despite often overwhelming evidence to the contrary. So many people throughout history who've accomplished amazing things have described feeling this way at some point, including Albert Einstein, Maya Angelou, Tom Hanks, and David Bowie. Today, I'll be sharing a few tips that always help me overcome imposter syndrome when I feel it creep up. I wanted to get this information and tips out there as I see so many community members and students struggling, and I am aware of how paralyzing these negative thoughts and feelings can be. But first, let's go over a few signs you may be experiencing imposter syndrome specifically as an artist, as well as why this phenomenon tends to happen to us so frequently. So here are just a few signs that you're dealing with imposter syndrome as an artist. The first is you're unable to accept compliments on your work. The second is you experience overwhelming anxiety when starting a new piece. The third is you have a prevailing perfectionist attitude and a constant fear of failure. The fourth is you feel you don't deserve to ask for more when selling a piece, even after you've spent a good amount on supplies and also a good amount of time creating it. The next is you feel out of place when visiting an art supply store or gallery or attend an art event, workshop, or class. The next is you discount your achievements, such as your first art exhibit or sale. The next is you deeply worry about other people's opinions about your work and choices in life. And the last sign that I want to add into this list is you're constantly comparing yourself to others and feel like your work is never good enough. All right, so moving on to the second part of today's little art chat, and this is, why is imposter syndrome so common among artists? So the International Journal of Behavioral Science states that even though imposter syndrome can affect literally anyone, and it states that 70% of people have experienced it at some point in their lives, it hits artists, creatives, and entrepreneurs of all kinds more frequently. And this makes sense because of a few different reasons. The first of these reasons is being an artist is incredibly lonely. It's usually just us and us alone, not only creating the art, but also doing everything that's necessary to share it or to build/sustain a business around our art. It's absolutely imperative that we believe in its and our worth. And deep inside, we know this, and it's a lot of pressure. The second reason is art is subjective, and there's no cold, hard measuring tool to tell us whether our work is quote-unquote good or quote-unquote bad, or whether we're doing things quote-unquote right or quote-unquote wrong, which means we must have confidence in what we're doing. The next reason is it takes a lot of courage, not only to create art, but also to put ourselves out there consistently. There's a vulnerability that comes with creating art and with putting it out there for others to see. The next reason is with sharing our work and thoughts, we're opening ourselves up to criticism and other people's opinions and judgments. Whether this is just with a smaller audience, meaning family and or friends, or a larger one, meaning social media, galleries, events, etc. And the last reason I wanted to add in here in terms of why imposter syndrome is so prevalent among artists is because nowadays, because of social media, it's so easy to feel behind or like we'll never reach another artist's level because we're bombarded with others' amazing work and seemingly perfect art lives and productivity 24/7. All this said, and I really want to make this super, super clear, though being an artist is incredibly challenging on so many levels, it's also incredibly rewarding and fulfilling once you're able to push through the suck. Personally, there is nothing else that I would rather be doing and dedicating my time and effort and energy to. Moving on to the last part of today's art chat, in which I'm going to be sharing 7 key things that I remind myself of that always help me move past imposter syndrome fast so that I can continue focusing my time and energy on creating. So remember these things to overcome imposter syndrome. Comparing yourself to others is a waste of time and energy that you're never getting back. We're all super different. We're going through different life situations, and we're at different points in our art journeys. If you find that social media is affecting you more often than not, if you feel that you constantly struggle with comparisonitis, with feeling behind, and you find that you're simply just wasting so much time scrolling and taking in more than you're creating, then I would highly recommend doing a detox, implementing strategies that are going to help you manage your time better and set better boundaries. Number 2, remember there's no one exactly like you. You are unique, incredibly valuable, and nobody else in the world can create exactly like you can. Lean into your uniqueness, weaknesses and all. Number 3, talk to your mentors or art friends for support and inspiration. People who share your same interests and are also putting in the work will help you recognize that your feelings and thoughts are both normal and irrational. They'll help you put things back into perspective. Number 4, make time to look back and recognize the progress you've made, as well as how far you've come since you started. Remember what you do well, what it feels to create when you're in flow, and why you started on this journey in the first place. Number 5, realize no one is perfect. Every single person out there, including those artists whose highlight reels you come across on social media, is a work in progress and struggles with self-doubt too. Number 6, develop your self-worth and growth mindset. It's imperative that you develop a strong mindset that is going to help you succeed long term. Below, I am going to leave a couple of links. One of them is to a great article on how to develop lasting self-esteem. And I'm also going to be leaving a link to a TED Talk on developing a growth mindset, which is something that I've talked about before in another art chat. As artists, I feel it's essential to have a growth mindset because it is going to support us in reaching our goals. And finally, number 7 is understand that most of the time you are feeling the way that you're feeling, and these limiting beliefs and negative self-talk is coming because it's just your brain trying to keep you safe. Your brain does these things because it's trying to prevent you from doing things that are new and challenging. So it sends you signals to stop because it's comfortable down here. But the fact of the matter is that if you allow all of that to hold you back and you stay within your comfort zone, then you're never going to reach those levels that you could reach as an artist. Those levels that you have it in you to reach. I've found that reading more about how the brain works and learning about all of this has done wonders in helping me move past those negative voices, put that negative little gremlin in the backseat of my car and just take the driver's seat and take that wheel and say, thank you, but I'm gonna do this anyway, even if it's scary, because I know that it's gonna contribute to this life vision that I have for myself. I'm going to leave a third link to an article in which all of this is explained and how to start rewiring your thought process so that these things don't hold you back anymore. Just to finish up, feelings of self-doubt and nervousness are 100% normal and human. They don't make you any less of an artist. If anything, these feelings are a sign that you're stepping out of your comfort zone, that you're being brave and are taking action to grow in new ways. And if you ever feel like you don't belong somewhere your heart and spirit are telling you to be, remember that anyone who's actively putting themselves in the arena deserves to be there. If you're passionate about art, you're creating consistently, and are always looking to keep growing, you're an artist. Period. End of story. Don't be afraid to call yourself one. All right, you guys, that is gonna do it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it helpful. And if you did, pretty please make sure to give this video a thumbs up because it really helps support the work that I am doing here on YouTube and helps others get to know about my channel. Thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to subscribe and click on that little bell so that you can be notified of when I share my new videos, which happens every single week. Have a beautiful rest of the day and see you soon. Bye guys.